Welcome back to the shop. My name's Taylor. Today we're back on the California Roadster Golf Cart project and the lithium battery swap. We've got to get all of our electronics, charger, wiring, and that kind of stuff mounted and then start checking things off the list. So let's dive right into it. All right, so we're still waiting on some pieces so we can properly mount the battery, but we got some accessories we have to mount. My first thought was I was just gonna drill a bunch of holes down here and mount them wherever they fit and it'll work, get the job done, but honestly it would look terrible. I'm trying to sell this thing. While I don't want to put a insane amount of time and labor cost into it, I also want to make it right. I'm most likely going to be selling it to somebody I know, so I don't want to like rig anything or make it super sketchy or look like it's just thrown together. So we're going to spend a little extra time and we're going to make it better. I've already been playing with the layout a little bit. Basically, this is all the stuff we got to mount. We got our charger, we got our amplifier for our radio and our speakers. This is a 48 volt to 12 volt converter so that we can step down the 48 volt battery voltage to run the 12 volt speakers, the 12 volt underglow, and anything else that wants to be added down the road. We got some junction blocks, so what I'm kind of thinking is this is like our 48 volt in, this will be our 12 volt out, because the bolts they sent with the battery are not very long and there's 3 or 4 wires on each side. Yes, I could get longer bolts, but it's not super clean. I would rather just have the lines going to the motor straight off the battery, and then everything else can basically get jumped off of here because it won't be under the same kind of load as the motor will. If we were to put the motor to these would probably melt, honestly. So this is kind of what we're working with. Unfortunately, it's a little bit bigger than the footprint down inside that hole. So what I'm kind of thinking is, see, we need about 11.5 by 13. And this hole is like 10 by 13 or 14. Yeah, I could mount one on each side, a couple components on each side, but I don't really want to do that because I mean that could be kind of like a storage box if you wanted it to be. I don't know, that's just a lot more work, and I think it'd be better if it was just all in one location. So what I'm thinking is we'll put a 90-degree bend down here on the floor so that we have an area to throw a couple holes and some bolts, and then we'll bend it up, we'll 90 it this way and try to land it on top of this frame rail, which is going to be a little tricky because the frame rail is at an angle on this direction. This is square, this is at an angle, and then we got this, it's flat down here and curves up. So it's totally doable. I know I can do it, but it's been a while since I've done some weird angles and dimensions like that. So we're just going to try it and we'll see what happens. We are going to build it out of cardboard first just to make sure that it's going to kind of work and I like it. Unfortunately, I don't have any aluminum. Aluminum sheets would be better. All I got is this, I think this is 20 gauge steel. So we'll just have to throw some paint on that. Maybe put some rubber between so it doesn't corrode into the aluminum. Yeah. It's a little bit too thin for the weight of all this, but we'll bead roll the top of it, and with the 90-degree brakes on the side, I think it'll be all right. And if it won't, well, I guess that's the trial run, and I'll get some thicker aluminum or something and we'll go from there. I do have some 1/4-inch aluminum, but that's way overkill for this. And then I have a sheet that's even thinner than this stuff, so that's going to be even worse, but we'll make do with that and go from there. So we just got to measure Let's see, we need a straight edge or something. First off, we got to figure out how high we need to go off of that. Pretty sure that's pretty level across there. I don't have anything long enough. Y'all probably can't see that, but that is 2 1/4. So I want to do a 1-inch leg down there to bolt to. And then we'll bend it up 2 1/4. That's not going to be right because we got to do it up here. It's going to be tricky. All right, we need let's just say 13 1/2 inches. And we could pull that this way some. We need 13 inches from basically here. I'm going to put a mark. Right there. Actually, let's go back like 1 inch. I'm gonna go 4 1/2. So what I gotta decide is, do I want to build it where the whole thing basically slopes and it just lays flat across here? Or do I want to make it level with another bend on this side? Since this stuff's pretty thin, it'd be easier, be stronger if this was just straight here, because if it had a double bend and a double bend, then it's gonna want to wobble. And I don't know that we really want that. That's the tricky part about making 100% custom things, is there's literally 1,000 different ways to do it. And I always get hung up myself on back and forth between what's the best and what's not the best. And at the end of the day, we just got to do something. Well, y'all see what I just did wrong? We're gonna have to go that way. And we're gonna run off the page. Need to start this from this side. That shadow in my, it's not really helping, is it? That's better. Okay, I'm forgetting. This is gonna be the short 2 1/4. Gonna be the 4 1/2. Nope. We got to do the 1-inch bend. Come on, Taylor, get your stuff together. If you haven't caught on, the dashed line is so that I don't accidentally cut there. That happens quite frequently. I'm also a little rusty at doing this. I've not done it in a while. Okay. The other thing we got to remember is it doesn't just taper up, it tapers sideways. So that's 12. It's come back 1.25 inches, 12 inches. It's about a 1-inch difference. Now this angle's throwing me off. That would have worked. This is what I mean by I'm rusty doing this sheet metal work. I was thinking we're gonna have to go this way, but I think that's wrong. I think we're still going this direction. I don't know, that's why we do it out of cardboard. Because if the cardboard doesn't work, we just cut it again and we're not losing a lot. Eyes. Mechanic stuff over here. The problem is, I mean, scissors you can use kind of both ways. It's the right thing would do to be a pair of scissors in each spot, but all right. For those wondering, this is like 1/16 thick cardboard. I just buy it from Uline. I'm kind of shipping stuff, but you can actually bend it, sort of. Will it perfectly hold its shape? No, but we'll simulate sheet metal decently. That one's gonna have to be backwards. You might be thinking, what about the bend radius and bend allowance and all that stuff? Look, I just made a cut line. Oh well. Well, honestly, with 20 gauge sheet metal in a situation like this, it does not really matter, in my experience. Now, if you're trying to fit something absolutely perfect in between two locations, or real critical, then yes, you need to add or deduct. But nope, I was right the first time. No? Jeez. Yep, I was. Eyes are always playing tricks. Because if you notice, now these are not square. So, you want to know how you fix that? But it fits in there decently. Well, so this needs to come down here. That needs to be square. So rather than starting all over again, we are going to put this there. Maybe. Because that is the straight bend that we want. And then, nope, that's not going to work really. So we're going to put this back down here. Doesn't quite go all the way, but we can cheat that later when we cut the real thing. We just got to find the masking tape. We will weld that back together. Just like that. Let's go test it again. If you want, you can put some more on the back side, but doesn't really bother me too much. All right, you see we gotta move this wire. It's in a weird spot anyways, but that is basically what we're looking for. I guess the good news here is since there's no fender, whatever comes off the tire, it will kind of gradually roll down, hopefully. Run off the edge. And then, I don't know, when we get down to this flat spot, we're just gonna kind of let it do what it wants to do. Pop a couple holes across here. Probably, we should do it over there. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a couple marks of where the holes are gonna go so we can lay out our equipment. And we'll probably put one somewhere in the middle here. Again, I'll lay those out better, but for now, and I might put that a little over 90 degrees, but we can adjust. All right, now we got to figure out where all of this is gonna sit. We basically got to keep it all within that window. The more pre-planning we do here, the better off we're going to be. I really want to bead roll this, but there's not a lot of room. I think I'm going to add 2 inches to this. I'm just trying to get a little bit of understanding of what this is all going to look like. I guess we want it like that. I think that looks a lot better. So then that gives us enough room to bead roll it a little bit. All right, now we just got to transfer this over to our sheet metal. Trim this a little bit. Moved a little bit there, but that'll be okay. Now we just got to replicate this. We're going to add 2 inches, something like that. We can go ahead and lightly transfer our bend lines. And then we need to transfer whatever pattern we're gonna do. Pattern for our bead roll. It's not quite right. I'm gonna get a fresh Sharpie with a finer point on it. It never seemed too bad till you get a new one. You're like, oh yeah, that one's wore out. Still good, just not good for this. 3/4 of an inch there. Not too bad for eyeballing it. About 7/8, but we'll do them all 3/4. All right, real quick, we want to make sure our pieces all fit inside the corners there. It looks pretty decent. So we're going to cut out the outside, we're going to bead roll it. We'll throw our template up here and drill all our holes. And we'll bend it. Yeah, go from there. All right, let's see how bad I can screw this up. Again, it's been a long time since I've done this. Now the tricky part. Corners. That's far from perfect, but looks all right. Not too bad. Looks good from afar, but it's far from good. What do you mean you're dead? I just charged you. What the heck? Yeah, you can see this first corner I got a little started turning a little too soon. But that's okay. I'm pretty happy with that. It will definitely do its job. Kind of debating on, we're gonna bend it there. Kind of want to put a radius, but I don't know if we got enough room to put a radius around the edge. Yeah, let's try it. All right, so we're just gonna put I think this is a 5/16, what you would call a tank roll. We're just probably gonna do it. Try it on a piece of scrap first, see how we like it. You might think it's terrible. Don't know, it looks, I like the look of that. It's just the corners are kind of, it would definitely help this edge from kind of oil canning when you bolt it down. So I think we're gonna at least do that. We gotta go the other upside down now. You know what, we're gonna do the whole thing, and I'll just hammer the little section flat that we got to bend it on. And this is gonna strengthen everything, I think. Again, I'm no expert with this, I'm just playing with it really. It just gives us a nice lightly radiused edge so that when it's pushed down and we throw some bolts in here, if it was just flat, you're gonna get kind of a oil can rippled effect through there, which you can see it's slightly rippled here. Once we break it, that'll take some of that out, but that almost creates a little spring-like effect, so you tighten the bolts and you get a nice seam all the way down. Now, because if it was a large radius corner, I think I could have carried it like I did here. But these corners, you just kind of had to run off, so I'm gonna clean that up, just a hammer. Now then we gotta move. This one's bending that way. This one is gonna bend the other way. We can measure it out, but we can also get it pretty close just by looking right there. But before we go doing all that, let's go ahead and mark our holes. So we're gonna put this up in there. I'm gonna put a little piece of tape right there. Maybe one right here. It's a very high-tech metal brake. I used to have another one that I built, but ended up selling it just because, I don't know, I think I needed the money at some point and didn't use it that often. And because there's no follower plate to guide it, it tends to leave a slightly larger radius, but I mean, for this type of stuff, it's not that critical. That's gonna take a little bit more finesse. Not too bad. Now the tricky part is getting down in here marking those holes. As you can see, not a lot of room in there. But these are landing right where we want because we don't want these into the frame. You can see we got a little bit of gap right there, but honestly, that will probably suck down and be real nice. So we need to mark these 3 holes, those 3 holes, drill them, and we'll figure out how we're going to hold it down in there, I guess. This thing really needs some fenders, but I don't know. That'd be kind of a challenge in itself. All right, I'm gonna do that real quick and then we got all the holes drilled in there. I probably should have pulled these in a little bit. Wasn't really thinking that it was gonna go all the way since I added the 2 inches, so that might be a little bit of a challenge. I still gotta paint this, so I don't wanna especially if I'm gonna rivet things, I don't wanna put it all together, I guess I'm trying to say. I guess that's gonna do it for today, working on the golf cart project. So we get some more pieces and I get this part painted. I think it turned out pretty well. It might be a little overkill, but it'll look good. See if I got some kind of flat or matte black, try to match that. And then maybe the next time I see y'all, we'll get all those electrical components mounted. We'll get everything wired up, all of that finished. And then I think all that's left is we got to mount the little gauge cluster in the dash. And then I ordered some boat flooring. I mean, is it the best? No, it's not the, it's just cheap Amazon. Doesn't match the tan great, so I might order some. I screwed up and I ordered the wrong width. As you can see, it's not going to work. Dimensions are important. You should pay attention to those when you're ordering things. But I failed that miserably. So they've got some black and blue, and again, the blue probably won't match this blue, but I might buy that instead. Stick that down there. I don't know how well it's gonna look because this is a little bit wavy, but there's really nothing. I mean, the carpet that was on there, the nasty carpet that I ripped off, was all wavy, so we'll see. I'm gonna buy some more of that. I gotta find a couple little mirrors and some turn signal lights and give this thing a solid wash, and it'll be ready for the new owner. And then I'll get to show y'all what I traded it for, because it's pretty awesome. So yeah, we're gonna see you on the next one. Thanks for stopping by the shop and hanging out. Appreciate the love and support. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Leave a comment on what you think about the golf cart project. Leave a comment about what else you want to see me working on. We got been slowly working on this 39 Ford. Doing some sheet metal work to it, so I get a few hours here and there. Whenever I get enough footage together for a video, I'll throw that up on here and y'all can check that out. But in the meantime, thanks again for stopping by. We'll see you on the next trip. Have a good one.